Hey guys, spunkflunk back here again. So I have a life story I wanted to tell you. And before I start the story of the day, I just want to tell you guys the game that I am playing is called Little Lords of Twilight. If you're interested in it, the link to the downloads for iOS and Android is down below in the description. So about 2 summers ago, me and my friend Ron decided we wanted to go out on a camping trip. But unlike any other camping trip that we've gone on the past, we wanted this one to be different. We wanted to actually get really far away from town. I had just gotten a new truck, which you've seen maybe in some of my videos from before, and we wanted to really push it to the limits and get somewhere we couldn't get with a car. So we went way out into the bush to this lake called Angley Lake. Now, I remember my dad had taken me there before as a child, and we caught just more fish than I've ever caught in my entire life in one, fishing trip. So I knew it would be a good place to go, right? So anyways, we head out towards this small town, which is the only town in that direction, surrounded by mountains and just tons of bush for hundreds of miles. There's no cities or towns past this town that we drove to. So we turn off onto this old forestry road. It's even more run down than I remembered it as a child. There's trees hanging and stuff. We actually had to bring the chainsaw and chainsaw down a tree because it was in our way, and there was twigs and stuff. I just remember they were slapping up against my truck as we were slowly driving through it, hoping that my truck wouldn't get all dented up and stuff from all the bush. So after about 3 hours of driving straight into the bush away from civilization, we finally arrive at the lake. And as we start unpacking, this is where things start to get weird. So as we were unpacking my truck, this is when I first noticed it. I remember reaching for a fishing rod in my truck, and then when I turned around, I saw behind me in the distance this black figure. It didn't have any matter to it. It was just black. It had no other features besides a black humanoid figure. I remember seeing it so well. But the thing is, it vanished as soon as I looked at it. Not even an eighth of a second. I spun around, saw it for an eighth of a second, and then it just vanished. Now at first, I thought that maybe it was just my eyes playing tricks on me, but you see, it kept happening throughout the day. It was always just in the corner of my eye, and whenever I would actually focus on it, it would disappear. So I was still not completely convinced, thinking maybe that I'm going crazy or my eyes are just playing tricks on me, right? That is until my friend Ron had mentioned that he had seen a weird shadowy figure in the bush when he went to take a leak. We decided that we were just going to stay there for one night instead of the full 2 nights which we had originally planned. However, I do regret that we didn't just leave the same day, because when nighttime hit, that's when things got really messed up. I remember we were sitting by the fire and just hearing weird noises in the bush, crackling and stuff, loud crackling noises, right? As if there was a big animal or something. But the thing is, it wasn't just in one spot. It was kind of going around us, because we were surrounded by trees, right? Except for the part with the lake. That was the only part where there wasn't trees. But the rest of us was just surrounded with forest, right? And we kept hearing crackling, as if somebody was walking extremely fast around the trees. There was no wind either, so I really don't know what that could have been. Honestly, I couldn't have seen an animal moving that fast, because the rustling of the bush was happening so quick, it was moving around us. I really don't know how to explain it other than that, if you can kind of picture what I'm trying to say. So that happened about a few times with about 30 minutes apart. Now, after about an hour of sitting by the fire and no more rustling sounds or weird shit, we actually decided to go to bed, and I just remember wanting to sleep in the truck. I was really debating it, but the problem with the truck is it's extremely uncomfortable. The seats don't even recline in my truck, so it would not be a very comfortable sleep. However, at least if we slept in the truck, we wouldn't have been so goddamn exposed in the tent. Now, I remember putting out the fire very specifically. We dumped 2 full giant buckets of lake water onto that fire to make sure that it would not start up again, because last thing we want is to start a forest fire, right? So after making sure that the fire is completely out, we head to the tent and begin to attempt to fall asleep. Now, I just remember laying there in the tent for about 30 minutes trying to get to sleep, but I just couldn't fall asleep. I had too much on my mind about what had happened earlier in the night/day. Then all of a sudden, whoosh, I could hear the fire. It just started back up again. Like, I shit you not, the fire just started itself right back up to full blast. You could hear it was going good, and you could see the glow from it. That fire was going, and it was going strong, even though we had put it out 30 minutes ago. Now, I remember I was actually going to go and put out the fire. However, I started hearing the sound of like a lawnmower kind of sound. It was like a purring light lawnmower sound, and immediately I knew what that was. You see, if you hear that in the forest, that means that there's a cougar around, because when a cougar is purring, it makes a sound similar to the hum of a lawnmower. I turn my head over towards my friend, and I notice he's also wide awake with eyes wide open. We don't say a word to each other. We both glance over at the wall of the tent as we see the shadow of a cat-looking figure moving towards the tent. The shadow began circling around us. We knew we were helpless inside a tent. The only thing separating us and the cougar was this thin layer of fabric. Now, right as I saw the shadow of a paw reaching up towards the tent, I knew at that moment that we were fucked. Then all of a sudden, this weird binging sound coming from the forest just kind of like came out of nowhere, and when that sound started, the cougar kind of like backed up like it was scared or something. As the weird electrical binging sound came closer and closer to the tent, the cougar started backing up and disappeared back into the bush. However, the binging sound got louder and louder and closer and closer. The weird binging sound actually then started circling around our tent. It honestly sounded like it was maybe 4 feet away. I had no idea what that was. I was already scared of the cougar, but now whatever this weird binging sound was, it scared the cougar away. So you can only imagine how terrifying this thing really must be if it scared a cougar away, right? However, nothing seemed to happen other than the binging sound slowly circling around our tent, maybe 4 to 5 times, and then it slowly faded back into the forest. Now, of course, we left first thing in the morning the next day, never to return. However, I do plan on returning there someday, possibly sometime this spring or this summer, with my camera, and I'm going to do a full investigation of this place because I am actually very curious of what is going on over in those mountains. So if you are interested in me doing an investigation on this place, remember to like the video, leave a comment what you think, and to subscribe. Until next time, peace out.